The language we use to describe people should respect their dignity and autonomy. Ideally, we should ask the people we are interacting with how they would like to be addressed. Unfortunately, this is not an available option here. So, as a substitute, I have guided by a survey of 3,470 members of the UK autism community who preferred the term autistic person over person with autism, which is the phrase I have adopted here. Kenny et al. 2016. The same survey also noted that there is no single way of describing autism that is universally accepted and preferred. The effects of Tom on late development. Acquiring Tom has far-reaching social consequences. If I understand you are sharing the same psychological vocabulary as me, I have an easier time relating empathetically to you. Having Tom also allows us to share views on the world, talk to one another, and criticize and cooperate with one another. More generally, Tom has been shown to have a significant effect on children's later development in the following ways. Tom ability is related to children's peer social skills in early and middle childhood, such as leadership, joining new groups, welcoming new members into groups, and standing up for one's own opinions in exchange with peers. Peterson et al. 2016. Children who are more advanced in their Tom ability have been found to have better communicative competence, specifically tailoring their arguments and persuasive techniques to address their conversation partner's point of view. Peterson et al. 2018. Children more advanced Tom ability tend to be rated as more likable and popular among their peers. Slaughter et al. 2015. These relationships are all of the type X is associated Y, a method explored further in the following 1-minute method. Any powerful tool can be used for good or bad, and Tom is no different. Children can use Tom for pro-social ends, that is, behavior intended to benefit of others, such as sharing, helping, caring, or acts of kindness. Or it can be used for more selfish, manipulative ends. For example, the aggressive behavior of some playground bullies might depend on their sophisticated Tom functioning. An advanced Tom reasoning enables children to engage in more sophisticated acts of deception, such as lying. Ding et al. 2015. Gazer and Keller 2009. However, in general, children who are more proficient at Tom tasks tend to act more pro-socially, offer more comfort to others, and act more empathetically and cooperatively. Mutter et al. 2016. Currently, we don't know why some children put their higher Tom abilities towards more pro-social ends, and some put them towards more selfish ones. But this is a question researchers are trying to answer. Key point. Acquiring Tom has far-reaching social consequences for children's development. What is Tom for? Clearly, Tom is a significant part of the human experience and its important consequences for how children develop. But what is it for? Earlier, we raised the idea that Tom gives us an advantage when it comes to cooperating, competing, and communicating with and learning from others. Let's look at cooperation in the little more detail by noting that much of what humans do is mutualistic. That is, what is good for you is good for me. For example, when we trade goods, you might benefit from my supplies of wheat while I benefit from your surplus of wine. It's a win-win. These mutualistic relationships involve a kind of alchemy that is more than the sum of its parts. Two people can carry a piano up a flight of stairs, but neither of them can carry half a piano on their own. The challenge is these situations is for would-be collaborators to coordinate their actions so that they can achieve their goals together, and Tom plays a key role in this. Comparative psychologist, someone who studies the psychology of different species. Shona Drugoid and her colleagues investigated how children solve a simple coordination problem. Drugoid et al. 2020. She tested 44-year-olds by sitting them in pairs in front of puzzle box and had a set of 4 buttons for one child and 4 buttons for the other. When both children pressed the same button, e.g. endmost one, the puzzle box would release red balls that rolled down a tube into a pling machine, producing a pleasant sound. The balls would be released if both children coordinated their response and pressed the same button. Shona also gave the equivalent test to chimpanzees, although instead of a pling machine, the chimps were rewarded with a grape. Chimps are highly motivated by grapes. Why also test chimps? Some scientists have argued that the degree to which humans cooperate with each other is unique in the natural world. By studying how our closest living relatives behave in comparison to how we behave, we can better understand what we share and what makes us unique. See box 3.1. In the experiment, both species were able to coordinate their responses to get a grape or make a playing machine play music. However, there were marked differences in the ways they did so. The children were able to coordinate quickly and flexibly, adjusting easy to new collaborative partners, thereby suggesting to understanding of the coordination process. Children were more likely than chimpanzees to communicate with each other about the tasks with a verbal or gestural reference to a specific choice. For example, saying here while pointing to the button they had or were about to choose. You might object that this wasn't fair on the chimps as they don't have language to use as a coordinating option. However, it is not the case that chimpanzees cannot coordinate their actions with us. While chimpanzees do this regularly, when they are hunting in groups, when patrolling the border of their territory, or when faced with intergroup conflicts. So while chimpanzees can coordinate with each other in their environment, they seem to have particular difficulty coordinating their decisions with each other, a skill of which humans seem to excel. In the experiment, the few times in which the chimps did communicate, they used general gestural attention getters, but did not refer to which button to press specifically. For example, nosily knocking on the wire mesh between the cages while waiting for their partner to make their decision, after having already made their own choice. In general, the chimpanzees took a longer time to converge on a coordinated button choice did not get any better at coordination across partners. This suggests that their coordination was based only on repeating successful past choices, for example, converging to a single set of buttons rather than the flexibility switching between them. Although the children communicated substantially more often than the chimpanzees, 40% of the child pairs did not use verbal or gestural communication, but were still highly successful at coordinating their button presses. In these cases, children often used a leader-follower strategy, in which one partner waits for the other to act first and then follows the lead, or possibly uses more subtle cues such as eye gaze. In summary, this study and others like it suggest children engage with their peers to solve coordination problems together even before making any choices, whereas chimpanzees seem to solve these problems more individualistically. The general point is this: if children have a Tom that allows them to picture the world from another person's point of view, what they see, know, want, desire, and believe, it is going to be easier for them to coordinate their actions with others. Recall the children in the experiment were 4 years old, an age at which we know more advanced Tom and perspective taking abilities are kicking in, figure 3.3. Taking back the pling machines and chimpanzees, imagine any complex cooperative endeavor that requires input from multiple people, such as building a bridge, to be successful. It requires everyone playing their part at the right time. You raise that end at the log of the log while I slide this stone here. Then these others can tie that rope here, and so on. In this context, communication allows people to make their intentions public. When you know what I want and I know what you want, it's a lot easier to coordinate these perspectives towards a common goal than if we keep the information private. Ibbotson et al. 2022. Imagine trying to build a bridge or coordinate any complex activity with a group of people who either couldn't share their intentions or weren't motivated to align their intentions towards a common goal. It would put an upper limit on the ambition of what we could achieve together. The meeting of minds that Tom allows has big consequences when multiplied by billions of people on the planet today and played out over the thousands of generations humans have existed. It underpins the cultural fabric of our lives, and without it, many of our most human of achievements, law, government, trade, education, language, would not be possible. Key point: Tom helps people coordinate their intentions towards common goals and allows complex cooperation.